Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the next video in this series where we're creating a social/sharing app completely free of charge. And in this video, at least up until now, we have created a login or sign up page. And then we've also created this forum page and made a couple of other adjustments to the application. So if you're catching this a little bit late in the game, feel free to go back to previous videos in this playlist. Again, the login page right now is set up. It does not require users to authenticate emails. They can just sign up with any email. Doesn't even have to be theirs, but it does require the same password as what was originally used when they signed up. Again, in the description, you have all the details you're going to need from previous videos as far as securing endpoints and things of that nature, and additional security features as well. So let's go ahead and jump straight in. We have this forum page here. By the end of this video, you are going to be able to jump into a generic forum page, and you can have as many of these as you want. So you could drag in cards. These can be buttons. It doesn't matter really what element this is. What matters is when you select the item, the logic down here opens the corresponding page. I'm going to walk you through how to make this first one, and you're just going to replicate everything from the previous video and this video for every number of forums you have moving forward. So let's go ahead and get started. So this one is already linked. So we're going to go to forum 1 over here. And we're now going to display this information because in the previous video we set it up to post. So let's go ahead and work on displaying it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with something like, let's just say a scroll view. So we have a couple of choices over here. You can choose the content, but what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to find a scroll view, drag it over, and then the scroll view is going to allow us to expand information and then scroll within it. Then we're going to choose a container, so we'll drop that into the scroll view so it's nested inside. And then within this container, we are going to add the information to be displayed. So I'm going to walk you through this and then show you how and why this works the way it does. So we're going to have, let's see, maybe we want our information to look a little different. So maybe we want to do a list item. So we'll drop that within the container. And then maybe we want to do a paragraph. So we'll drop that within the container. And then lastly, we need something to separate the different posts. So let's drop a divider in here. Although you can use other items, for example, a container would just add additional padding. You can set it up however you feel is best. So we now have a scroll view with a container and these items listed inside. Now the reason we set this up the way we did is we're going to have this repeat. So AppGyver has a function to allow you to do data items in repeat. So basically every time there is information in our database, so for example, there's 4 items here, but if someone adds a new post, there's going to be a 5th one. So the data item in repeat is going to say everything, basically every time there's an instance or a document here, repeat and add that information and display it. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the repeat now. So we have this container, and everything within the container is going to repeat because we are setting the container to repeat. So we'll go up here and we will click repeat with. We will then select data and variables. Now, one thing I want to note is we've added this data variable again. If you haven't done that, how you do that super quickly is you're going to choose the variable selector, go up to data variables. I have forum 1 added, but I'm going to remove this from the page because this is probably how yours is going to look. So it's pretty simple. And then we're just going to click on add a variable, and we're going to add forum 1. When it adds an extra 1, don't worry about it. That's just how they do things. Don't forget to click save. And this is because the data variables are going to be page specific. You can access them from any page, but that doesn't mean they're saved on every page. So now we're going to click on variables, and we're going to go back to forum 1, and we are going to click on the little expand option and click on container. We're going to click on repeat with, data and variables, data variable. We'll click on forum 1 because that's the actual data variable we're using. And if you notice, now all of a sudden there's all of this sample information in a little shaded section here. Don't worry about trying to adjust that. We're going to kind of set up the settings here now. So what we do next is we're going to click on the item within the container, so it's the first one, And we're basically going to say, okay, we have a primary label, secondary label. So the primary label, we want it to be a data item in repeat, which is a new option. And then we're going to click on current, and we're going to choose what we want to be displayed here. Now, what I think would be best would be, let's just say we want the name of the post first. So we'll click save. Now, the description of the post very well could be something along the lines, or it honestly could just be incredibly long. So it might be better here to instead put in the content, we'll click data items in repeat, and instead here, let's just put who it was posted by. So we can put posted by and click save. And now we have these two options. And then we can click here again, and where it says secondary label, let's just put read more. And this is telling users that this is a clickable link. So now we can go ahead and click save on this page, and let's test it out and make sure everything's working okay. So again, we will click Forum 1 up here. Actually, we'll click launch, so we're going to test this in our browser. And we're going to click Open App Preview Portal. And then from here, as we've been doing, we'll click Open. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click Inspect. Again, this is just using the Google Developer Tools so that we can actually see it as a phone would see it, or a mobile device. So you'll see we have Hey, Tyler, Hey 2, Tyler 2, Hey 2, Tyler 3. If this looks familiar, this is the information that's right here. So everything looks like it's working so far. Let's test it out. So up here, we'll put test name. Description is going to be description test. And then who's posting, we'll just put this guy. And we'll click post on wall. And then essentially, once this actually updates, if everything is correct, you'll see we have test name, this guy. Now, the description's not visible because we did not choose to actually add this here in this application, but that would essentially be how we would set this up. So now we are able to view all of this information, but clicking here doesn't do anything. So let's go ahead and allow the option to expand and view a new page. So we're going to deselect the launch menu, and now we actually have to create a new page. So we're going to click Add New Page, and then we'll put Forum 1 item. Now the reason we're putting this is a single page that will display the information only related to the item that was clicked. So you don't have to make one page per item. You just make one generic page, and the information's passed to it to be displayed. So we'll click OK. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to create, if you remember in the beginning of the series, we talked about page parameters. So let's click Add Parameter, and we're going to put Name, Add Parameter, and we're going to put Description. And then we're going to add parameter and put Poster. So these are going to be the places, or we'll just say the receiving end of the information, which is going to allow it to be displayed here. But now we have to tell it what to display. So we have this item up here. We'll make this content data and variables, and then we're going to go to page parameter, name. And the idea here is we don't have to set a preview value. The idea here is this is going to be the name, so the name of the actual post. This next one, we'll go to content. We will go to data and variables. We're going to go to page parameter. And let's just say we want poster next. So we'll click save. And then the last one, we want this to be the page parameter description. And save. And we'll save this information. And now we have the forum item page set up. So we will just make sure, so everything's good to go there. Let's click back here, and we'll go back to Forum 1. Now, on Forum 1, we have this page, and everything's repeating. Now we need to set up to link. So what we'll do is we'll click here, and then in the logic, we're going to click on Open Page, and drag it over. And now it's going to open the page, but we haven't told everything what's actually going to happen. So you'll notice there is advanced logic for this. So we have quite a few different options, but we need to set the page first. So we're going to choose the Forum 1 item. And you'll notice when we change the page, we now have these options here. So these are the page variables on that next page we just set up. We just need to tell AppGyver what to display when we move to the new page. So this is really easy. So we're just going to choose the name field first, and we're going to choose the data item and repeat, and we will choose current, and basically we're just going to go ahead and scroll down to the name we want to display and save. Then we will go to poster, data items and repeat, and then this will be poster, and then the description, data items and repeat, I'm sure you guessed, and we will save that string value, and we're going to click save. So this way the data is passed through even if it's not displayed here. And what I mean by that is if you look right here, you'll see the description is not visible, but we will still pass the information over. So now before we test this, we want to make sure the app is set up. We've made one change earlier that I want to make sure that we essentially resolve here. So if we go to the Auth tab, you'll see that I've removed authentication. One thing, if you remember from earlier, that we did was we had authentication enabled and we chose a different initial view. Now when you're testing your application, if you choose a different view like Forum 1, we're going to go to Forum 1 by default, but the tricky thing about this is since you technically need to be authenticated, and by that it's not the email address being authenticated, but it needs to be an email and username in the system. Since we're defaulting to that page, it's not going to let us leave it. So what I would recommend for you, instead of removing authentication, is now we're going to go back to choose the login page by default, and then every time you're testing moving forward, just make sure that you're logging in. That way we don't have any issues and you don't have to worry about removing authentication. Again, authentication here just means you have a valid email and username. It does not mean that the email address needs to be authenticated. That's a separate set of security rules. As I've discussed, there's a link in the description to someone who has a Udemy course that teaches you all about that. But for this case, we're just going to go back to the login page, and you can save that. I'm removing authentication for the rest of this video series just because we've already tested it, and it gets in the way when we're trying to, essentially be respectful of your time. So at this point, we've set everything up. But we need to make sure, as we have a default page, which is essentially like the home page, we need to make sure we have links to everything, because when we're testing it, you need to be able to navigate around. So you could either set links here in your home page, or you can set up your navigation menu. So I'm going to add a couple of items here. So this first page, we're going to make it home. And then the second page, we're going to make it forums. And then the third page, and this is only for testing, we're going to make it Forum 1. So what we'll do here is we'll put forums, and then we'll name this to Forum 1. This would not typically be the best way to do it, as you want to navigate within the page, so adding Forum 1 doesn't really make sense, but it makes it easier to navigate. Now, you also have the ability to change the icon if you want to. I don't really need to do that for the sake of this video. So we're just going to click Save, and now we are going to navigate back to the Forum 1 page for quick access, and we'll click Launch, Open App Preview Portal. Now, once we are here, we will click on Open, and then we will right-click on this page and click Inspect, just to bring up the Developer Tool menu, so we can do this mobile view. And then from here, we will just click on Forum 1, and you'll see that we're still, so I may need to actually change that. I guess I did not save that setting. So for Forum 1, we're going to change the page to Forum 1 and click Save. Now we will jump back over. So we're going to click Forums to get out of it. So we have Forum 1 pulled up now. So from here, you have all of these posts. So now let's test it. We're going to click on this row here, and you'll see we have test name, this guy, description, test. So let's go back, click on the next one, and you'll see it says, hey, Tyler, what's up? So now let's see this in action. So this is how your forum is actually going to function. So in name, newest test, this is a description, and then who's posting? Guess who? Post on the wall. And then you will essentially just wait for that post to populate. So as you're kind of scrolling through, you'll see it's right here. So newest test, guess who? So we'll just click on this, and you'll see it pulls up the forum item for newest test, guess who? This is a description. That's the info that we just posted. So you'll see that you have all of this set up, and this has this scroll. Now, this isn't the most visually appealing way to do it because you do have, when you remove this menu, you'll see that the list item that we have here actually has a divider underneath, so it doesn't look as attractive, but you have options to get around this. So now that you already have this set up, let me show you a couple of choices to make this a little bit more appealing. So you could drag over a container, and we'll put it outside of the scroll view, and let's just say you want to add in rows. So you can actually add in rows, and then in the style section you can choose how many cells you want to have. And then in each of these cells, you could actually put one of those list items in repeat. So you could put a, let's just say a paragraph in this cell. And then in this cell, you could put a card. In this cell, you could put an image. And then you can attach the value to each of these items. So as we did before, you would just click on container. And then you'd go to properties, and you'd go to repeat with. You'd choose data and variable. Data variable, you'd choose the item, and then you'll see that it's now, although not very attractive, repeating. And then you would just change each of these. You make the content the data item in repeat. You'll choose the content that you want to be displayed there, and then it'll repeat all the way down, and you'll do the same for each of these corresponding elements. So very, very simple thing to do, really easy to set up. So I'll let you all play around with it, but again, the basics are just make sure that the container is the item that's repeating with whatever the forum is, and then all the items within are essentially associated with the label. So the primary label, or that primary value, is going to be the data item that you want to repeat there. Now, maybe you decide, you know what, I want to have some text off to the side that says something, what we would call static. So if you drop a container in, and let's just say you want it to have 2 rows, and what we're going to do is we're going to make this container repeat with, and we will choose essentially the same thing we've been doing. So we'll choose this data item and repeat, and then maybe we want this side to be static information, meaning it won't change. So we'll drag over a paragraph, and we'll change the content to name of poster. And then over here, you could put, let's just say, another paragraph. And in this side, this is actually going to have content that's tied to the name. Actually, that's not the name of the poster. We will choose the poster value, and you click save. And now your data item in repeat will always say name of poster, and then this will update with whatever the actual name of the poster is for that item. So that's a couple of options to display things a little bit more cleanly in a way that may work better for you. But now that we have set up the forum page, we've tested it, or the forum page, we've tested it, everything's working. So at this point, we're going to go back to forums, and now you're going to repeat everything we did in the previous video and this video for this forum and this forum and as many other forums as you have. And again, you just repeat the process for every individual forum page. So you'll create a link here, and this is like your forum hub, and then you're just going to create a new page for that specific forum. So forum 1. You'll create a second page for the forum item related to that page. So let's just say the next page will be forum 2 and forum 2 item, form 3 item, etc. And just follow the instructions from last video and this video to enable the ability to actually publish that information and then allow you to actually view it within the application. So I hope that helped. Next video, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into essentially the finer points of actually creating a little bit more of a complicated post. So maybe sharing an image that's hosted on the internet somewhere. So we'll go ahead and jump into that next as we're kind of closing out this application. I hope you all enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next video.